This show absolutely sucked. This thing on? Let's get this over with. I don't want to make this video, Steve. I just got back from the largest craft show in the nation with my woodworking products, and we absolutely failed. This video is going to be proof that not everything goes according to plan. I'm here at the single biggest craft show in the nation, the Houston Nutcracker Market. Over a 5-day period, over 100,000 people are gonna walk through these doors, spending upwards of $20 million. Behind me are products that I have told you would sell on previous videos, just like this fall tray set, the Christmas tray set. Over here we have the bar products that sell. And so all of these products I have said would sell on previous videos. And so at this show, we're putting them to the ultimate test. So I have this wood booth here and I'm gonna show you the design of it, how it works, why I designed it certain ways to help you on your next craft show. And then I'm actually gonna go through the numbers of which ones sold and which ones didn't after this massive show and break them down piece by piece, item by item, so you know what to take to your next craft show if you're interested in any of these products right here. But once again, it is the ultimate test. I stand by my word. I think these products are gonna do great. And this is a pretty big gamble because this is not a very cheap show. So let's get right into it on how I laid out the booth. So they just opened the doors behind me, but let me show you quickly the layout of this booth so you can kind of maybe set up your future booth. And so as people walk down the aisle, they're gonna see this giant sign, wooden holiday trays. You don't need any kind of fluff, just wooden holiday trays. And I have them laid out very nicely and I price them 1 for $30 or 2 for $50. This way, it's gonna try to increase that average order value because maybe they like 2 designs, they take one for themselves and they take one for a friend. And so when people come this way, because they usually stick to the right side of the aisle, they see that. And then straight back, we have fun and games, which are the Wahoo boards, the maze games, these poker sets right here, which I haven't made a video on, but I will make one soon. The reason I did them this way is because they're big, and so they're not behind this table right here. They can just directly see them. And then they browse when they come in, and they see all of our piggy banks right here. Now these I don't make, but these are the products that, you know, I have made thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of with my CNCs. And then over here in the corner, we have the docking station. Now, if you haven't seen the video on how this put me through college, how this really started the whole thing, but once again, it's not a show product. I just have it here for nostalgic purposes, but I actually don't plan on selling too many of them because it's a more online product. And then we have our giant wooden piggy bank wall. And notice it's not like handcrafted by John, right? No, the customers need to know what you're selling, so wooden piggy banks goes right on top. And a very nice display right here, and that's kind of how it looks. And so a customer walks by and they see that, they look back, see the wooden piggy banks, they see handcrafted in Texas, which is a nice touch. They may stop right here and play with the maze game, which a ton of people do. And they'll play with this maze game, they'll see the poker set, they see the wine holder, they take a peppermint off the tray, they look at the trays, they see the wine bottle opener, or beer bottle openers, they have the margarita salt rimmer, and we actually put some salt in there so they can kind of visualize it. And then boom, it's the stopper, they stop, they come in right here, they look, and they circle back around. That's how this booth is laid out. Now the checkout is in the center because when we get really busy at these shows, we'll do, you know, a couple $1,000s an hour. And so boom, you check out, you set it right here on the table, you box up their product, let's say like this, boom, zip it up. We have our nice little bag here, and you check them out with this square terminal. So everything is meant to flow and be very efficient and very nice and elegant way of showing off the product. There's some other booths here that have just stuff scattered everywhere. That's not the look I wanted. I wanted a very, very concise, tight-knit look that looks very elegant and a handcrafted look, and that's what I think I accomplished here. Now, one quick note before the crowd gets here is that all of these products in this row and a lot of them right here are all made with Bamex. That's a material that CIC Workshop supplies. If you haven't heard about it, check it out. I love it. It's amazing for people with the CNC. This is made with Baltic birch right here. This is some cherry, maple, and walnut with some epoxy stars. This is an inlaid maple star on the Texas flag, and the rest is all Bamex. And so once again, we're gonna see if it sells. We're gonna see if this material does hold up to all of the hype that I've been building around it, because I absolutely love it. And I think it's perfect for these types of projects right here in a very elegant looking booth. But once again, guys, we're putting it to the ultimate test. I am excited, nervous, confident, exhausted, all of the above. Wish me luck, and I hope I can make it. If you're getting value from this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below at the biggest market days you've ever done in your CNC journey. I don't know what to tell you. Let's go. All right, guys, so we are back from the show. It is 2 days after the show ended, and I am still exhausted. My last day off was about 45 days ago, and my next day off will be in about 30 days, around December 24th of this year. So lots of work, lots of exhaustion. Now, time to get you some cold, hard numbers. You know, these numbers are going to be the absolute truth. I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. This is what we sold. So we sold a grand total of 589 items. So with that being said, of the 589 items that we sold, the best-selling thing and what our booth is actually known for were these piggy banks right here. And so this is what our company is known for. And so our booth was typically only piggy banks, so this is no surprise. We sold 120 large piggy banks and 115 small piggy banks for a grand total of $9,500 of these banks right here. Okay, the next best-selling category was the trays. The fall trays like this, or the Christmas trays with the tree, the hat, the snowman, and this pumpkin. So with that being said, we sold 155 trays for a total of $5,100. We sold them 2 for $50 or 1 for $30. The Christmas tree was our best seller, and we sold 60 Christmas trays. So about a third of all of the trays that we sold, or actually over a third of all the trays that we sold, were Christmas trees. The second best seller was the pumpkin right here. All of these other ones sold kind of equally. The least best sellers, we only sold 3 of them, was the leaf. And this to me is no surprise, as it's more fall related and we're getting closer to Christmas. They were the worst sellers. And so this is the tree, or the leaf. It only sold 3 of them. I think the acorn sold like 5. All these other ones did pretty even numbers, but tree was the most popular by far, followed up by the pumpkin at 31. So the tree sold 60, the pumpkin at 31. Them sucked the worst, or the best. Sucked the best. So the next best-selling thing are going to be miscellaneous shaped piggy banks. Now these could be tractors to dinosaurs to our best seller, which was actually a baseball shaped piggy bank. So that was our next best seller. And we sold 59 of those for $2,335, and those range in prices. So collectively, our piggy banks did around $11,000, $11,000 to $12,000 collectively. And once again, that's what I was expecting, if not a little bit more, because that's what we're known for, and that's what my company makes the most of. So moving right along the list here, the next best seller were these maze games right here. Now these I've been making for a number of years. This is definitely a CNC product, and I make this out of scraps that I make my piggy banks from. And we sold 26 of those for $910. And so the maze games did good, followed really closely by these Wahoo boards. So we did around $900 of these Wahoo boards right here. Last year we did a little bit more. I think we did $1,800 worth or $2,000 worth of these. So they fell off a little bit, but I think it's because I didn't have them displayed as good as I did last year. And so we only did about $900 in sales with those. A couple sleepers that we have never done yet, I've never showed or had made on YouTube. One of these was this poker set right here. And the poker set, we sold 10 of them for $60 each. So we sold them for $600 collectively. And once again, this is just a cool little set that we made out of Bamex, which I really like. And I will show y'all guys how to make this. The next thing on the list is going to be our beer bottle openers. We sold 20 of these at 10 bucks a piece. We just used them as scrap. We had some scrap when we were cutting out all those trays, and then we just kind of fit these in there. And so these were kind of, really didn't cost us much. So we sold 20 of these, 10 bucks a piece, made 200 bucks off of that. And the sleeper of the show that blew me away on how much we sold out of really everything were these right here, these margarita glass rimmers. We sold these at 20 bucks a pop, and I think we could have got a lot more because everybody was saying how much of a steal it was, but we already set up our systems, so we had to sell them for that much. We sold 48 of these at 20 bucks a pop, and so we sold almost $1,000 worth of these right here. And remember guys, I told you if you do something like this instead of doing the circle, it would really sell. So I'm really proud of these. Now we did sell a couple cutting boards. The cutting boards that we sold were these right here, Texas flag ones, and we had one American flag that sold. The best-selling cutting board was this small one right here. We sold this for $30, and then we sold these for $60, and we sold $900 worth of those cutting boards. And so that's almost all the products except this one. Now this one, to me, was the biggest disappointment of the entire show because I had a lot of hope, a lot of hype built up around them, and we sold one of these wine racks for $40. That's it. So this to me was the biggest shock. Now I've had a lot of y'all subscribers out there say that these do sell really well, but in my particular environment, they did not sell well at all. And my only guess is that because I had such a random assortment of stuff, that these are kind of hidden and nobody really saw them. So we did drink a couple bottles of wine while we were there and then put it on the wine rack to see if they would sell, and they still did not. But yeah, this one's to me the biggest disappointment of the whole entire show, and this one right here was the biggest surprise of the show. So now let's get to total numbers that we've done, what kind of profit we made, how much did this show cost us, and everything in between. So the total number of sales per category that we did were $11,305 in piggy banks, $4,650 in trays, and $3,630 in everything else that wasn't a piggy bank or a tray. Piggy banks accounted for 57% of our total sales. Trays accounted for 24%. Everything else accounted for 18% of our total sales, which gives us a grand total of $20,824 in sales. Now, if you watched this video from last year where I gave a report on the same exact show, you know I did $30,000 in sales at last year's show. So let's break down and see if we made money, and then I'm going to give you the do's and don'ts and all the lessons learned. So, in total, we had about 256 man hours into this show. We had Monday and Tuesday was set up, loading the trailer with product, getting everything over there, and that accounted for about 60 hours. We had 2 people working 12 hours a day on Monday, 3 people working 12 hours a day on Tuesday. The rest of the week, Wednesday through Sunday, we had 3 people working the show at 12 hours a day, so 36 hours a day. Each show, we had people there. And you may be asking, why do we have 3 people? We had 1 restocker and 2 working the show. And then if anybody, or checking people out, you know, like looking them up and down, like, what's up? Then, what people don't realize is that the show doesn't end until the trailer's unloaded. So then on Monday, we had 2 people for 8 hours unloading the trailer for a total of 16 hours, which gives us a total of that 256 man hours. And if you're paying them $20 an hour, you're looking at $5,120 in labor. Our booth fee was $2,300, and our fees from the show, we pay 11% commission on total revenue, equaled $2,310. Our travel costs, such as Airbnb, gas, hotel, food, all of that good stuff, equaled $1,200. And our total cost of goods sold, because it does take money to buy all this material and labor to make all the product and all that stuff, was $8,000. So that gives us a grand total profit of $2,070. Now you may ask the question, was this show worth it? No. Absolutely not. In my opinion, on the financial side, this show was a complete failure. Now, on the lessons and learning side and the ability to teach you from my mistakes, This lesson is going to be a huge success, and I hope you have a lot of takeaways from it that I'm about to tell you. Well, one of the first takeaways is that even if it's a big show, you can still fail, right? This show was really hard to get into, and yet I still didn't make that much money. Now, across the board, everybody at the show that I talked to was down about 20%. We were down about 30% year over year. So, first lesson is, once again, no matter how big the show is, you can still flop at it. Lesson number 2 for me is that even though we're profitable mentally, physically, I'm exhausted, and the opportunity cost of what I could have been working on was way outweighs the $2,000 of profit I made. And so even if, guys, you go to a show and you are profitable, what could you have been doing in the meantime and actually generate maybe more revenue or something like that? Because my time is worth a lot. I maybe could have made 2 or 3 YouTube videos. I could have came out with a different product. I could have been in the shop because we have a lot of overhead here. And so my time was better spent elsewhere than working for 5 days or 7 days to try to make $2,000, right? And so that is another takeaway. And this last takeaway that I think is the most important to understand and comprehend in this video. One of my buddies that sells at the show, they're a food company, okay? They sell olives, and roll with me here. So they're a food company and they sell olives. So if they have a really good product, it's gonna sell, right? They go to the show one time. Let's say they went to it 3 years ago, which they did. And they sold olives and they have a really good product, okay? And let's say they did $50,000 in sales. Well, the next year when they come back to that show, the people that bought from them the prior year, because craft shows are local, right? So the same people come back to them, they should typically increase in sales because the same people are going to come back and buy, and the new people that attend the show are going to also buy. And so they should theoretically go up in sales if they have a really good product, which my friend does. And so the first year they did a lot of sales. The next year they did even more because they had raving fans coming back. And then the third year, they should even have more, or they should start flatlining because the same repeating customers are coming back saying, man, those olives are great, or that salsa is great, or those chip dips, whatever is really, really good, and then they end up plateauing. But they go up and then they plateau because same customers, new customers, and then, okay, after 4 years, everybody's seen you and knows you're there, and you have a very consistent revenue. Here's the dilemma. When you have wood products, same scenario, and you build a really good wood product, and it's amazing. First year, we did $40,000 at the Nutcracker. $40,000, okay? Nobody knew us. They came in, they bought from us. Everybody liked our stuff. It was amazing. Second year, year 2, we did $30,000 at the Nutcracker. Everybody came in, they liked us. They walk by us and say, man, I bought that last year. My kids love them. And they keep walking. Drop in sales. Next year, we go back. Same product. And we actually bring even more product. What happens again? The new people from 2 years ago and the new people from last year walk by and say, man, I bought that last year. It is so good. Thank you for making such a great high quality product. And then your sales go like this, and then they flatline. Okay, so food products, and I'm not saying for just go buy food stuff. I'm not saying that. But food products increase and then flatline because more people come back, and if you make a good product, they want it again. Wood products, if you make a good product, they should never ever buy from you again. And that's what sucks. And so if we, as a company, were to go to different locations, we would have a consistent structure for our company and hopefully have a consistent revenue source. But I call this the natural law algorithm. So the natural law of just going to these shows over and over again and making a really good product, it's inverse of that. So the better you go, the more you go to these shows and the better product you make, the less good you'll do over time because you saturated that local market. Now, once again, you'll flatline at a certain point, but I've talked to numerous different woodworkers that go to shows and make stuff, and every year they get a little bit less. Now, it might not be 25% less, but we targeted grandkids, and so the first year we did really good selling these piggy banks. But once grandma or grand buys these for little Alex and little Ashton, she doesn't need them anymore unless she has 8 more grandkids pop out the next year. right? And so my challenge to you is to not get discouraged by this, is to figure out what is your strategy for maybe going to a farmer's market, the same one over and over again, or a smaller market days. I had a guy at our Frio, or the guy next to our Frio booth sold whiskey smokers, and he made a killing. I'm pretty sure he did around 50K in just doing whiskey smokers. But I guarantee you, if he goes to the same show next year and tries to do that exact same thing, his orders will probably be cut in half because he already got the people to smell the smoke and buy the stuff, right? And they're not going to come back and be like, oh, my husband bought one last year and now he needs another one. That's not going to happen. So you can either A, try multiple different locations and kind of do a tour and maybe pop back in at the same show every 3 to 4 years, or buy something that people want every single year. That's why I'm such a huge proprietor of Christmas ornaments, because you can do a different version every year. You can have the 2020 version, the 2025 version, the 2026 version, and people will come back. So I do not know the answer to it, or I would be doing it and not making this video, but I just want to challenge you to understand this concept that you can be an amazing woodworker, run an amazing business, but going to these shows over and over again is going to work against you because it's not something that people can buy again unless you make it that way. And I don't know the answer to that. I just want to challenge you to thinking that way. So was this show a failure to me revenue-wise? Absolutely yes. But is it a failure overall in my business knowledge and my ambitions of trying to grow and help you? I just got goosebumps. And help you and further your CNC journey, your woodworking journey, your business acumen? I don't think so. So I did not have to make this video because my ego gets sucked out of me. I mean, go rewatch the intro and how gung-ho I was, right? But I want to make this, to be honest with you, like I always am, because I want you to learn and grow and not make the same mistakes I did and not waste time. So I hope you learned from this video. Wish me luck. And remember, guys, as always, if you ain't cutting it close, you ain't cutting it right.